Hey you guys, okay, non-ASMR video for you. Sometimes I do this. I like to tell you stories of things that happen in my life, particularly funny, silly, ridiculous ones. What happened today, I brought some people to a restaurant, some family members that were visiting from the US, and it was going to be their last day here, so I brought them to a place they wanted to get a few more souvenirs at, the outdoor bazaar, wherever. Always seen this really cool restaurant in there with like people playing music and it's very lively, and I thought this would be a good place to have dinner before they leave. We go in, we're seated. There's only like one other table full of people. It's fairly empty at this point. And I'd say there were at least 5 waiters just standing by the door in their like little matching shirts, just standing there talking to each other. And I thought, okay, they're giving us a moment to settle in. We don't have menus. We don't have drinks, nothing. So far, standard Egypt. Cool. Okay, so I'm sitting there for a while. And then, 5-10 minutes go by. So I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and just wave someone down. They're literally so close to us, but they're just not doing anything. So I walk over and he's like, oh, okay, I'll come. So guy finally comes over and he says his name, introduces himself and says, I'll be back. He leaves. Doesn't come back for a while. Finally, I just flag someone else down and I'm like, could we get like a menu? And they're like, and I hear the person walk away, like, and actually says to his other co-workers in Arabic, essentially like, do we have menus? Like, are there menus here? Does anyone know where a menu is? Okay. It's a restaurant. So he finally finds one, brings it over to us. We're looking through it. I spend time, like good amount of time, showing my family members like what things are, because it's the last night and I wanted them to have something nice and Egyptian. And so we ordered things very specifically. We ordered like 5 things, let's say. Okay, well we've got our orders like in our minds, right? So the waiter finally comes over. He literally sits down next to us in like a chair next to us, and he's just like, looks so tired, poor guy, because it's Ramadan here and people are fasting. Muslims fast for 30 days, okay? So they don't eat from sunrise to sunset. So he sits down, he's like, hey, like this is in Arabic, but I'm gonna do it in English. And I'm literally, he's talking to me and I'm translating to my family the things he's saying, because they're like, what's happening? We've never had a waiter just sit down, slump next to us and chill and tell us what looks like a very sad story. So I'm translating. He's like, I've been working all day. I got here at 11 and I don't leave until 2 a.m. I'm so tired. I haven't eaten. He's like saying all these things and I'm just like translating and then like, sorry, sorry about that. These are the things we like to order. So we order them and he's just like, yeah, okay. So he leaves. I'd say 10 minutes later, he comes back with 2 of the items we had ordered, sets them down, looks at me and goes, yeah, we don't have the rest of the stuff you ordered. I'm like, what do you mean you don't have it, like, at all? Or like, you're bringing it in a few minutes? Or he's like, yeah, we just don't have that on the menu anymore. I'm like, what? Okay, so half our meal has come. The things go together. Yeah, it's like getting your pasta without your sauce. I mean, that's kind of what's going on. It's like, you can't bring the pasta and say, sorry, we don't have sauce. So we're sitting there and I'm like, okay, this is okay, #Egypt. I just said, how about you bring us another one of these and we'll figure things out. Can you bring us a tahini sauce? Okay, brings it over. We're sitting there like splitting things, they didn't bring us plates. We're just like wraps almost, as if it's like a takeout place. And so we're like opening them, trying to split them. So we eat, but I'm like, oh man, like, I don't know. I hope this doesn't make my family sick because they're going to be going back to the US. I don't know. There's like, if the service is that bad, I'm like a little hesitant about. I hope that like usually fruits and vegetables you have to be a bit careful with as foreigners a bit. Like our systems don't always handle things super well. So I was a bit concerned about that. But we were eating, we did our thing. Then he comes over at the end and like asked for our check. And he comes over and I am not joking. He comes over, sits down again, hands me the menu and says, can you tell me how much it was? And I'm like, you want me to look in the menu and then add up how much to tell you? He's like, yeah. At this point, I'm just laughing, like just full laughing. I find this stuff hilarious. It's like the greatest things ever. This Egypt's greatest hits. I'm into it. I think it's hilarious. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, sure, man. Okay, here we go. We got this. And I think I started just adding a few of them. And then he seemed to take over, start writing, talking to someone else. And then he just looked at me and said, £200. And I was like, cool. I thought he had, kind of added the rest up. I don't know. £200 really good for this. I gave it to him. We got up. We like gather our stuff. We're kind of getting up. We're like leaving the restaurant. Suddenly he walks up to me. He's got his cell phone on his ear. He's like literally talking to someone else, and he's like, "Oh, also you didn't pay for the tahini sauce yet." And I was like, "What?" I literally looked at him, and essentially in Arabic was like, "What?" No. And we just left. And he doesn't even fight me or anything. He just looks at my eyes and is like, yeah, okay. So we both like part ways. We just walk out to there and like, did that just happen? All of that. What was that? Like, that was like, there's Egypt, but then there's like, this was like more funny than any experience I've had in Egypt at a restaurant. Like it was like, let's just get a little honking in there. Wait it out. There's a honky. Okay. So yeah, that's what happened. And then I'm like driving my family, we're in a taxi coming home, and I'm like, let's just stop really quick for some apple cider vinegar. They're like, why? And I'm like, I don't feel 100% sure that we were fed perfectly good food. I'm going to have you take some swigs of apple cider vinegar, because I don't know if this is accurate. I do this sometimes when I think there's a possibility that I've eaten something that could be bad. There's some thought out there that it could kill some of the bad bacteria and you would not get sick. I do it all the time here. So I picked some up on the way home and had my family members drinking apple cider vinegar, just like shots. It's like burns as it's going down. And that was the end of their trip to Egypt. Thanks for listening.